Who doesn't need a sock friend?
I do.
We're working with socks again.
It's been a while. My friend Marnie wanted a sock monkey.
She even drew a design.
We're making friends for all of us.
I'm making Glam Rock Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
And I'm making Terry the Tortoise. Here are the materials we used for the sock Glam Rock Freddy. So the orange sock is the legs, arms, booty, and head. Then a red sock for his lower legs. A white sock for his hands, feet, and mouth. Colorful felt for the details, and canvas mesh for some structure. So I always start out, when we're making sock things, machine sewing the bodies and the arms. This time, because Freddy had the different colored layers, I had to kind of cut apart socks and sew them together. And the white one was really stretchy, so I ended up hand sewing this part. This is what they looked like on the inside once they were all sewed together. So the body is the orange sock with the stripes on the feet. So you sew them up, and then you flip them right side out, and then you stuff them with polyfill, and then you sew them together. This is when Freddy is just a noodle-legged tube of fluff. Freddy has an open mouth. We have a sewing playlist that has all the other sock creations. If you look back at the other Sock Monkey video, you can see more details on how to make the shape of the thing.
Glam Rock Freddy is the version of Freddy in the newest Five Nights at Freddy's game, and he's actually the first Freddy who's your buddy.
So Sam is making the mermaid for her buddy, and we had these socks. We've had them forever, these toe socks. They're so weird, but I love the top of it. I think it looks like either ocean waves or scales. So we used it for the tail, and then we used the toe of another sock for the head and the cuff of another sock for the arms. Stitched them up on the sewing machine, and then used felt for all of the details. We use felt because it's easy to cut and holds its shape, so it's easier to sew it onto. This is me hemming the edges of the heel of a sock for the nose of the Mermonkey, and then I'm sewing on the felt for the face. After the face felt gets sewn on, then you sew on the nose. I sew on the top or bottom first, and then stuff it with fluff, and then sew the opposite side. And then I sew on the arms. I always sew the face on first before the arms because the arms just get in the way. The thread just wants to get wrapped around the arms and the ears once they're on there. Here we have a sock Terry the Tortoise. He's our mascot, and I decided I wanted to try to make a tortoise out of socks, which I've never done before. So this was attempt number 1, foreshadowing. So I started with 2 socks, and I made the head and body out of the toe of one sock, and then the shell out of the toe of another sock, and then the legs out of a cuff of one of the socks. And then once I stuffed the toes, I stitched them together, and then I sort of rolled some of the scrap sock, rolled it up into a tube and sewed it on to represent that edge of the shell. And then I was sewing on the legs, and I sewed them on flat like I usually do for the sock monkeys, and then I decided that I wanted to sew them on round instead. At this point, I wasn't sure I was liking him, so I stopped to regroup and I made another tortoise. Makes perfect sense. So the second one, I decided to use the heel of the sock for the shell because it's flat on one side and then it bulges out where the heel is. So I just sewed in a circle around that and then made little bitty legs and a little bitty head. I should have made her shell a little bit wider in retrospect. I kind of did it like right along the heel, kind of thinking that the heel would make up for it, but she's just a little too skinny. I used scissors and a Sharpie to help me turn the legs inside out and then stuffed them with a tiny bit of fluff and then played with the head, stuffed it with fluff and tried to figure out how to make her look happy. Happy tortoise mouth. Actually, kind of not too hard to make a tortoise mouth. So I decided to make Terry the Tortoise because obviously he's the mascot. And then I was making this little one and she turned out so cute and so sweet. And so I've decided that this is Tiny the Tortoise and she's friends with Terry the Tortoise. Terry and Tiny. Yeah. And I think she's taking flight lessons from him. He's got a little flight school and she's going to learn how to fly too because we're all about learning new things around here at the Guild of the Flying Tortoise. So she's trying something new, and she's his little buddy. I was happy with them both, but then at some point, Samantha put her on Terry's back, and that was when it was like, oh, they're just the cutest.
They're best friends.
They're so cute. Anyway, I made some shell details for him out of felt and sewed them on, and then he was done.
And here, I'm making the details for Glam Rock Freddy, starting with his face paint. Yeah.
When you first told me that he helps you, I was picturing Terminator 2, and I'm picturing Freddy saying to the little kid, "Come with me if you want to live." And you guys totally don't get that reference because you haven't seen Terminator 2, but trust me, it's a good reference.
I'll believe you.
So once you had cut out the face for him, then I sewed it on and sewed on his mouth. And this is sewing on the ears, so I did them a little differently than the monkey ones. I sewed the monkey ones on flat across the rainbow shape, but for Freddy's, I kind of pinched it so that they were more bear-shaped and stuck out a little more. Stitched up his fingers and toes, gave them some delineation, and then sewed on his arms. And then he was your problem again.
Here is making the lightning bolt that he has on his chest.
I love his design. He's not like the furry brown one of old. He's shiny and orange and blue, and he's got all the cool patterns and the shoulder pads, and he's like Voltron meets David Bowie.
And these are his eyes, and his eyes are very special. They glow.
Yeah, we painted the felt with glow-in-the-dark paint. So it's a couple layers of folk art glow-in-the-dark, just regular glow-in-the-dark paint. And we painted it on to the felt, and I am shocked at how well it works.
I'm just sewing on some of the details, like the lightning bolt and the shoulder pads.
Derpy eyes. Do I play with them while I'm putting them together? Maybe. This was making his top hat. And the last time we made a top hat, it was for Sean's Henry Stickmin hat on his Among Us character, that top hat. And I remember it being a big pain in the booty. So I did it sort of a different way this time. And I used little bitty Dixie cups as sort of a structure and a support. I determined that that was the appropriate size for Sock Freddy's head. And then I cut a cup apart and cut it off at the right height. And then I could use it as a template. And I traced it on the felt. And then I could make the same size felt top hat. And then I cut off another chunk of cup and put it inside to hold the structure of the inside of it. So when I was sewing it together this time, it wasn't getting smushed the whole time and wanting to fall apart.
I'm making the mermaid.
Marnie wanted a mermaid on her mermaid. Very specifically, in the drawing she sent us, there was a mermaid on the belly of the mermaid. So you were making this little mermaid out of layers of felt. I just love how you broke down all of the little pieces, especially the hair, the layer that's behind her head and the layer that's in front of her head for her bangs. You did such a good job. How did you know how to do that?
I don't know. I just did it.
It turned out great.
So right here, I'm making coral, and then I'm making fish now.
Yeah, you always make your fish orange.
Yeah.
You like orange fish. I think it makes sense because the orange looks the best against a blue ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you drew this
Instruction
Yeah,
thing.
the instructions for how to assemble the mermaid. And I chickened out and didn't sew her together because some of these pieces were so tiny and I was afraid that the needle would just destroy the felt. So I tried gluing it together and it made her a little bit stiff, but it worked. And this is the octopus, and he's got front legs and back legs, just like your mermaid has layers. I love the layers. I think it's so cute. So Marnie had an octopus on the face of her mermonkey, and she had fish, and she had the seaweed and the coral. You're very good at following directions. So here I am sewing on all the little pieces. Sam pinned them on where she wanted them so that I would get them in the right places. And then I sewed them all on.
At the end, when I sent it to her, she really liked it.
When you gave it to Marnie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was very enthusiastic.
And when she showed me it on FaceTime, it felt kind of surprising and...
Yeah, because it had been here for so long.
Yeah.
And now it's there.
And now it's there.
And I made it.
For her. That was just super awesome. That's why she likes it so much, because you made it for her. And here they all are, all finished. So there's Tiny and Terry.
Terry's a little bit derpy.
He's super derpy, and I love it.
Me too.
And here's your mermonkey. It's our first ever sock monkey with a tail, and I think it turned out so cute. Here's
the tail and the mermaid and the fish saying hi to the mermaid and the mermaid saying hi to the fish. And then the octopus's tentacles are flappy.
Here's Freddy.
He's looking so stylish with all his fingernails and toenails that you painstakingly cut out.
12
Derp.
of them.
Oh, derp mode.
Derp.
Derp.
Derp
Derp.
mode.
Derp. Derp. Derp.
I love that. I think he turned out so good. And there's his glowing eyes coming at ya. But he's here to help, so it's okay.